Master Naima here with Melanin Sovereignty, and today's topic is head to action. I could have also titled this, What's Your Business Model? I as I prepare to come here with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific, I'm thinking about who I'm speaking to. And as I begin to grow, particularly with melanin folk, because remember, I'm new relatively to marketing directly to melanin folk. And so before I come here, I'm thinking, okay, so what's the state of mind of the melanin folk who I'm talking to? What have I been hearing in the conversations that I'm having behind the scenes? What am I sensing, right? Because there's a lot that people don't say that exists in the subconscious. And what have I been instructed to say? And so, also, because there are new people seeing me all the time, I had quite a few new people find me on Instagram yesterday because shout out to you, Asiri. I think a nice number of them came from that video of mine that you shared. So, thank you for that. My name is Master Naima, and I am the founder of Melanin Sovereignty. And here at Melanin Sovereignty, our focus and dedication is exclusively on showing melanin transformational leaders, coaches, teachers, healers, and the like how to come into full power in who they are and in the relationship with their business so that they create more than enough money and otherwise as it relates to building a business and a life that is meant for them. That's what we do here at Melanin Sovereignty. My background, my history, and listen, I could go far, far back. I'll go back. How about 2011? Is that far enough back for now? So this industry of coaching and transformation, which is the lens that I look through, I remind people of that because there's so much noise in the world right now, and I'm always looking through the lens of this industry of transformation, coaching, what's going on here, how to thrive here, what are the rules here, what rules for yourself do you make here so that you get to build and then impact wherever else you want to impact in your life, okay? I came into this industry in 2011, just a Black girl wanting to help people, like so many of you, right, who think that just because you want to help people and you've been through your own pain and transformations, and you just just sort of show up, right? And I did not know there was such thing as an industry of coaching and transformation. I didn't know people made money. The first time I found out about this industry was through a cute little pale redhead white girl named Katie Freiling in San Diego. That's how I found out that people make money on the internet. Like, this is a thing. And I got a link to this video series that she was hosting. And it was, they became famous, but in 2011, I was blown away. The 3 videos, and then they sell you something at the end. It was one of those, and it was gorgeous, and it was high vibe, and it was abundant, and it was just hitting all of my ascended places, right? Especially with where I was at the time. Remember, this is 2011, 9 years ago. And she offered this $997 course, and signed up for that, ate it up, and ended up doing my own video series that year. And I'm saying this with ease, but believe me, there's, fetal position moments and tears and all that in there. I'm saying this to give you some background for those of you who are new to me, all right? For those of you who have been around, you're like, Naima, get to it, we know. But that's how I came into this industry. And so I started getting paying clients at the end of 2011, and I have ascended, making tons of mistakes, feast or famine, hiring coaches and firing coaches, and everything. Oh, just so much in the last 9 years. And in 2015, 2014, right? So 2014, it was like the end of 2013 into 2014 is when I made the decision to get serious about money. This is why I am so fucking vicious when it comes to money for a couple reasons. One, because I struggled like fuck. This is why I cuss, because I'm so serious about it. I don't fuck around. I remember this one group, black girl was like, because people watch me from a distance and people fall in love with my personality. They fall in love with the fire. But what it took to get here, most people are not willing to play that game in their own life, which is why so many people don't make it. I'm glossy on camera, aren't I? Hot. Ooh, Naima, yes. Please, I'm ready to make the money. I'm ready to work with you. Let's go. Yeah, come on in this ring. Come on, get dirty. Come on, burn. Because nobody who makes it to seven figures does it because they posting a bunch of pretty things on Instagram, because they even know how to, look good on camera, or because they're pretty, or because all these things that people just, you got a lot to learn. And you're going to learn that here with me and Melanin Sovereignty. Anyway, so I got serious about service and money equally important, because prior to that, I thought that, the noble thing was to help everybody. And I'm being such a good person by helping people because I'm such a good helper. Meanwhile, I'm struggling to pay rent. And when God got a hold of me real good, when I was deep in my depression in 2013 and not showering for 4 days at a time and dark, and right, so much became clear. Sometimes you can't even see straight until you get deep enough down into the dark. Isn't that a paradox? Isn't that counterintuitive? Everybody thinks the light. We want the light. Please, God, bestow upon me the light so I may see clearly. Sometimes it's the dark where you see the clearest. You hear me? So that's when it became clear to me that, Naima, service and money go hand in hand, darling. Service and money go hand in hand. And so when I came back out into the industry after being withdrawn for months, I made service and making money equally important. I got serious about wealth consciousness. That's why it is a key pillar in what we teach you here at Melanin Sovereignty. All of the scarcity consciousness that has been deeply ingrained into the Black psyche. Okay? I told you guys I'm reading a book called The Warmth of Other Suns. The Warmth of Other Suns. A Black woman wrote it. Go find it. It is gorgeous. It is captivating. It is humbling. It is raw. It is honest. The Warmth of Other Suns. And it is basically where she has interviewed thousands of Black folk who were a part of the Great Migration between 1915 and 1970 in this country. Black folks who were enslaved in the South and migrated up to New York and Oakland and Chicago and Milwaukee and Philadelphia and Detroit. And she just tells their stories and she interviews them. Like, she goes to their house where they are today. She sits with them, and there are three primary characters in there. And one of the I'm saying character as if it's fiction. These are real people. One of the women is Ida Mae. Ida Mae was raised in Mississippi and she migrated to Chicago. And last night I was reading about how Ida Mae, in sharing her story with this writer, that the only time she had because she lived in the back rural woods of Mississippi, right? Now, I've never been to I've been to New Orleans a couple times, and I've been to major cities like Houston, Austin, Dallas, but I've never been in rural South. I've never. Right. So I'm envisioning as I'm listening to her tell this story, and I'm just like, wow, they talked about how when it would rain and the mud and the dirt and the water would get so high that the kids couldn't even walk to school. Hi, Cynthia. And they only went to school when the crops were like had been planted and they were growing, but it wasn't harvest time. Like, and you only could go to eighth, the highest you could go in the South as a Black person was the eighth grade, and you only went to school like a few months out of the year. And if work didn't need to be done, like, did you guys know this? I'm just like so captivated. And so she talked about the way all of her interactions with white folks was always her in a service position. And that she said, no matter how young or how old you are, they always did things to remind you that you were subservient. Now, this is her in the 1920s. This is Ida Mae, who's alive today, was talking about her reality, or maybe I think she might be alive today, but because this book is not that old, okay? But the year that she talked about having these experiences was in the 20s, and in the 1918, because there was a span of years that where she talked about her experience being in Mississippi. And she talked about how this one white woman, because Ida Mae talked about the good white people and the bad white people, and how she had to learn how to watch white people closely to discern which ones were the good ones. And so she said there was one she called the good one who would like give her a chicken and would give her some eggs because she knew her dad had died. I think her dad had diabetes and he died. And the woman knew, so she would give because she knew her mom was a widow. And I'm sorry if I'm spoiling the book. Um, hey, Cynthia. But she talked about how, she went with this white woman into the city. Like, it was like the only time she went into the city. Because remember, she lived in like the back rural parts of Mississippi in this town called, I can't remember off the top of my head, but that, she would carry the eggs for this white woman because the chicken would hatch so many eggs, and that she would go sell eggs to white people with the white woman, and she would like stand behind the Black woman, and right, they would work together. And that one time they needed to go inside this white woman's house for the transaction, and the white woman was like, "Don't you bring that nigger in here." And she was a young girl, and she talked about all the different times white people did things or said things to remind her of her subservient position. And this conditioning right here, right, this conditioning of you are inferior, and that it was just normal. She talked about Sunday church when Black people got together and she called it salty ham and collard greens and things. It was the only time that they could forget about the Jim Crow that was so prevalent at that time. And they would all gather at the church, and that Black men who were looking for wives, and that's when they would have a chance to go meet women who would be potential wives. And this conditioning, right? And how much this has trickled down deeply into how we behave today, how different sayings that we carry today are rooted in slavery. This idea that Black people have to work twice as hard to be half as good. Have you ever sat and analyzed what that really means? If you work twice as hard, which means that alone means you're exhausting yourself. You're working twice as hard to only end up half as good. What does that mean? If you're exhausting yourself half as good, what does that mean? That means by that standard, somebody else's standard, you're never good enough. And it perpetually leaves you in a place of disempowerment. This is what I mean by the modern day poor Black psyche that has so many melanin transformational leaders, healers, coaches, teachers, can't even see straight, can't even make a healthy, high decision to invest in themselves, can't even make a healthy, high decision to choose a healthy partner, and it's so sometimes depending on your level of development, because this does not apply to all of us. I'm aware of that. There are many of us who have done deeply transformative work where we are not plagued by working twice as hard to be half as good. We are not plagued by, I'm one of those Black people. Really, it was when I moved to Houston, Texas, that I was like, I remember specifically. So my mom and we would read Ebony and Essence and all that. I was born and raised in San Francisco. And my mother never talked about race when we were coming up. I didn't even experience racism until I was about 20. I just had a very different experience that I have come to learn is a different kind of experience from a lot of Black people. and I never got treated a certain kind of way because of my skin color. The whole dark skinned girl thing, never even had it. Never. I didn't even, that wasn't even a conversation until I was 20 years old with a friend of mine who I was in college with, a Black woman. And I remember my mom and I used to read Ebony and Essence, and there would be statistics in there like 62% of African American women feel like this or is like this. When I was a teenager, I'd be reading these, my mom be reading, and we'd talk about the magazine. And we read these statistics and be like, who are these Black women that they're talking about? Because we never related to what we were reading. And all the Black women we knew, we didn't know these Black women. And I moved to Houston, Texas when I was 26 years old. And I started to get into the culture, right? I would read the magazines and the newspapers, and I would go to the social functions, and I started a business. And so I started networking and started to move around, right? As this, Black girl from San Francisco who didn't have any real experience with racism or the inferiority, the whole, your place and none of that, right? And Black people would be like, I'd be going to certain places and they'd be like, why are you going over there? Or white people would just look at me weird, or not be at like a country club or at a certain restaurant. And I'd be like, why are you asking me? Why not? Like, what? I'd be wondering like what their problem is, right? And I remember I had put together this huge fashion show because I'd started a fashion marketing company, and I knew I was new in this town. I didn't know anybody. And I wanted to introduce myself to the city. Like, here I am, fashion marketing woman, come buy my services. I'm showing you what I'm capable of. Look at this amazing fashion show I'm putting together. It's extraordinary. It's fabulous. Be there, right? And I got a sponsor. A local fashion agency invested $10,000 to be the chief sponsor. And my boyfriend, who I was dating at the time, who was born and raised in Houston, he said to me in a resentful kind of tone, you got these white people giving you all this money. He said that to me. And it was situations like this with Black people and white people. White people being like, what are you doing here? And I'd be like, what do you mean? What am I doing here? Now I'm 26 years old, 27, 28. Having these experiences. Now, imagine if that had been my reality at 2 years old, 3 years old, in my formative years. By the time I'm 26, I'm already formed, right? I already have my subconscious programming. I already have my primary identity, right? Everybody who you understand psychology and how it works, right? Our first 7 to 12 years, primarily our first 7 years, is our formative time where we form up a lot of what will be our identity in our adult life, right? And it was in these years in Houston that I realized how much, first of all, wherever the concentration of slavery was, that it's so deeply impressed into the psyche and the culture there, right? So Mississippi, Houston wasn't even a hotbed of racism or slavery, even though racism was in Texas, right? And that's why, anyway, I'm not going to go. But that's how it's gotten baked into the minds of the Black folk there. And that depending on what family you were a part of and where your family migrated to, because one of the things that you'll learn when you study the Great Migration is that depending on what state a Black family was in, oftentimes determined what state, northern or western state, they migrated to. So typically if you were in Louisiana, you were migrating to California. If you was in Florida, you was migrating up to New York. If you were in Mississippi, you were probably going to Milwaukee or Chicago. It was like there was a path that was common depending on where your family was in the South. Okay. I'm getting so many chills as I'm talking right now. I'm in order. This is wonderful. And so this what I call a corrupt Black psyche. When I taught my course last year, 5-figure clients for Melanin Messengers, one of the weeks teaching was about a corrupt Black psyche. We are so far removed from the truth of who we are because we oftentimes refer to our, modern ancestors. When I say modern, I mean our great-great grandmother or our great-great-great grandmother, right? or our great 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 grandmother? How often do we refer to our ancestors of 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago? Did we forget that our modern ancestors, do we forget that our great 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 grandmothers also have great 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 grandmothers? Did we forget about that power? Did we forget about the fullness from which we come? We forgot about that. So correcting, what we're doing here at Melanin Sovereignty is we are correcting, bringing you back into right highness with who you are. That's why the high right way of being, the high right way of speaking, the high right way of being, and the high right way of which you take action from. When you do this, you are going to shake the universe. Do you understand the superior nature of this? You are going to shake your bloodline. You are going to shake your family. You are going to shake your peers. Do you understand the nature of what we're doing here? This is not just another motherfucking 6-month coaching program. I got plenty of people who I can send you to for that. That is not what this is. This is high Allah work. This is high Allah work. This is of nature, baby. This is descending from the real original humans. Do you understand me? You just want to know how to put together a goddamn funnel? Go to Google. Go to Instagram and search it. Go search some keywords. We're not just talking about business building here. You got to get your heart together, your high mind together, your identity together. That's why we're having trauma specialists on the team. That's why we're going deep into the psyche. That's why we're going into sexual healing. You will not be able to withstand the thunder that you will activate as you become a force of nature. If you are moving from a low mind, from a broken heart, from a corrupt black psyche, you will not be able to withstand that thunder. Do you talk to me? Do you understand? Do you sense? You get it. I know you get it. I'm just asking you to engage so that call and response thing. That is what we're doing here at Melanin Sovereignty. This is unprecedented. This is unprecedented. And I had to die over and over and over and over again to even be able to withstand my own voice, to even be able to stand right here, right now with you and declare and decree what I say now. And I say it in fullness, unapologetically, and fully. You do not get to 7 figures, as I have done, in this industry of coaching and transformation, or anywhere, but really in this industry, because this industry depends on your mind being in order. You cannot fake it and sustain 7 figures. It will not work. Something will break, because wherever you are weak at, you will be attacked and destroyed. If you are not willing to look at every shadow, every wickedness, every wretched, weak, dirty, fractured, incorrect, corrupt thing within yourself. Because the devil is the devil within. Nobody and no thing has no power over you unless you agree to it. That is a spiritual fact. So when you step here in Melanin Sovereignty, you are coming because you seek highness, restoring the natural way of being. Struggle, anybody who sits in silence and assesses themselves honestly enough knows that to struggle means you are out of order. Out of order. So what is your business model? How will you make money? I'm going to talk about this a little bit because when we leave here, what I would like for you to do as your homework is to start to visualize yourself getting into the action that I'm talking about. Then go actually get into action. I would like for you to feel what requires correction in you. Because many of you, you'll get excited watching me, right? You know, and I already, it's happening, right? Naima, I'm ready. Naima, I'd like to do this. Naima, can we do? And I've been doing this, darling. I've been doing this a long time. I told you I came into the industry in 2011. I know what is required of you to come into rightness with money and leadership and healthy relationship with yourself and others, being able to erect the right standards, being able to have difficult conversations, being able to move through difficulty or uncharted territory, navigating heartbreak, being able to help other people who are like, I know so much of what it takes. I'm not perfect. Listen, okay, if you cut me, I will bleed, right? So many of you, you must come into melanin sovereignty when we start making our offers. You're not going to win by just watching me. You're going to win by getting dirty, by moving through fear and being in a container where you're not out there in the jungle trying to do this. And this is another black scarcity thing. Googling a bunch of shit, trying to freeload your way to six figures. Really? Really? And then you want to come out here and talk to people about abundance, about health and well-being and all of that when you're trying to crumb your way to six figures? Really? Be the kind of client that you would like your clients to be. So there's work required. You guys have heard the expression skin in the game. You've heard that, right? Skin in the game is basically about putting your money where your mouth is. Oh, you mean it? Oh, do you? Oh, really? Show me. Makes me think of that. Remember that Jill Scott album? The album that had uh, let's take a long walk around the park after dark. Find a spot for us to spark conversation, verbal elation, stimulation. Share our situation, temptation, education, relaxation. Remember that album? Thank you for the hearts, y'all. So on that album, the very last song is a song called Show Me. Now, this whole album was a love song, a love album. And she talked in this song, Show Me, she's basically talking to a potential partner. And she's saying to him different things like, if I asked you to restore my faith in brothers, could you do it? If I needed you to be cool with my strength, could you do it? And she's just saying all these things. If I needed this, could you do it? If I asked for that, would you? And then the chorus, she says, "Show me, show 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 me, show." Don't tell me, show me. That's what she's saying. Show me. Folks to talk, show me. Show me, show me. Go listen to the album. Go to YouTube when we finish here as part of your homework. You will find it to be very pleasurable. Jill Scott, the name of the song is called Show Me. And so when somebody says, put some skin in the game, put your money where your mouth is, I'm saying the same thing here with melanin sovereignty. Show me. Lead. Invest your money. Show up when it hurts. Show up when you're angry. Have the difficult conversation. Be willing to be the first in your bloodline. Be willing to say the thing that you have no evidence of, but your whole heart tells you that it's so. Show me. Show me. Be willing to have a tremble in your voice and to have tears coming down your face and still do it. Still say it. Still be it. Show me. Show us. Show us. People are watching. You are going to shake your bloodline, darling. I guarantee it. I guarantee. And for many of you, it's already done. You get your actions in line with what you know. Melanin sovereignty is a huge blessing for many folks who ain't even met us yet. Ain't even met us yet. And lives will be transformed at core and permanent levels as a result of investing their time, their heart, their money, their energy, and their souls with melanin sovereignty. Please share this video. Cynthia, thank you for sharing it the other day. Please share it again. For those of you who are here now, who are currently silent, please share this. If you're watching this as a replay and you know it to be true, please share it. It matters. It matters so much. I'm depending on the team members who will be joining the team. I'm depending on those of you who are silently watching to share it. Those of you who are, will see clips of this on Instagram. Thank you. So, I'm deciding about what the schedule will be with videos moving forward. No one has yet to declaratively state, Naima, could you please talk about this? No one has done that yet. So I am inviting you, if there's a specific topic within the domains that you hear me discussing, that you please put it in the comments. If you wish to not put it in the comments and send it to me privately, you're welcome to DM me or to email me. My email is naima@naimasingletary.com. I have tons to give, infinite, and if there's something in particular that you wish for that I can speak to, I'm happy to hear about it from you. So the action that I ask that you go take today, in addition to sharing this video, is go listen to Jill Scott's Show Me, and then business models. Go sit down and think about what business model you will execute. And if you are, if you are not active, there's so many different ways to talk about it. And now it's too much to go into it now. Maybe for a fresh video I could, but some business models to consider are: do you wish to be boutique? Meaning you work with smaller numbers of people, but you're charging more, right? Boutique luxury. Do you wish to go bigger? Bigger meaning having 50, 100, 200 people at a time in your programs, right? That's a business model. Do you wish to be primarily offline? Do you wish to primarily be online? What's your way of reaching people? Do a visual, like video like this? Are you more of an audio person? Are you more of a writer? Okay. What else are some things for you to consider? There's so much to consider. I would really like for you to sit down and think about how you will be serving your people, right? And this is the beginning of structuring what your business model will be. All right. And inside of Melanin Sovereignty, obviously, this is where we get truly custom. We get to look at your lifestyle, your personality. How much income are you looking to create? Where will you live? Right. Because you're going to be offline, online. Are you serving mainly Americans? Are you foreign? I mean, there's so many different factors to consider. So inside of Melanin Sovereignty, in addition to this high level consciousness work that we're doing, we're bringing it all together with the practicality of, how does money hit the bank account? We're taking all this material. How do we then bring it down here to planet Earth and have it to where money goes from your clients into your bank account? All right. So that's a hugeness of what we're doing here at Melanin Sovereignty. So to remain intimately aware of what we're doing, because sometimes we share things with our email community that we don't share, click the link with the video, whether you're on YouTube or wherever you are seeing this video. Click the link and send us your email so you are certain to not miss anything. All right. That concludes today's transmission. And I'm unsure if I will be back here on Friday at 12 p.m. There's something brewing, and it's yet to be revealed vocally. Thank you so much. Could you